Greetings, and welcome once more to Channel Other Doc. I am Jim, your friendly Lacuna GM. I use he, him pronouns, and this is our Invisible Sun campaign, The Edge of Paradox. The Invisible Sun is a surreal slice of life game by Monte Cook Games. We are integrating the directed campaign, but most of this game happens spontaneously. Also, I perhaps should have warned you. Let me do that. There, now everyone has been adequately warned. It's been a day. So let's go around and say hi to everybody. Everyone who is here today. And we will start with Djinnaya. Hello.
Hello. Hi, my name is Djinnaya, and I use she, her pronouns, and I am playing Shah Gamelan, an established gallant of the Order of Makers who cages adversaries. And Shah Gamelan also uses she, her pronouns.
Excellent. Hi, Wilde.
Hi. Yes, I am Wilde Engineer, and I am playing Shantanu. Excuse me. I am an itinerant empath of the Order of Apostate who splinters into fragments.
Excellent. And Arras, hello.
Hello. I am Arras, or Animus Panthera, and my pronouns are she, her, and I am playing Aroshka Ruzik, aromatic empath apostate who converses with everything, and her pronouns are also she, her.
And finally, Anino, hello.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Anino. I am playing Mac the Husk, an itinerant enthusiastic of the Order of the Goetica, provides a vessel for spirits.
Excellent. Excellent. So, once again, just as our as we do this, I do this reminder every time, like we do with most games on this channel. We're going to use the X card, the N card, and the O card. So if we hit something that's crossing the line for one of us, any of us can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else, or make an X symbol, and we'll back up and we'll do something else. If something happens that we're okay having in the game, but we don't want a graphic description of it, we can type an N in the Zoom chat, and we can fade to black on it or put it behind a veil. So it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Finally, if we're exploring a topic or an area of roleplay that's particularly intense for us, but we want to keep going anyway, we can put an O in the chat to let us know that we're okay and that we're good to keep piling on the drama. Alternately, something we can do is we can put an O with a question mark after it when we're moving into a difficult topic, or if we say or we do something and then think, maybe that might have been a little too much. Then everyone else can respond to that again with an X, an N, or an O, and let us know if we're still doing okay. Now, as I recall, there was a bunch of spidering last time. Quite a few, those there assembled, decided to head to the House of Variegan, because that was a lead that was provided from a couple of places, but the most recent being Her Elegance. Because Her Elegance realized that there were pieces of her memory missing, and so thought perhaps, there's this group called the Pneuma that explores the nature of the soul, and Variegan is one of her descendants who is in this group, and so she kind of sort of directed them sort of in his direction. As it turned out, Vormira had dated Variegan before, and so knew how to get into his place. So they went to his place, and a lot of the objects inside had begun spidering. They had begun, which basically means that a lot of the inanimate objects there grow 8 legs and begin scampering about and attacking people. Luckily, they had someone there who was able to speak to inanimate objects. And so that was quite helpful. until they, but then but then Mac, of course, also summoned a fighting spirit who decided to engage with them, and so that did cause a little bit of unrest. Also, Shantanu was almost eaten by a daybed, but they managed to get out of that house with a few items, including a couple of photographs, a note that Varian had been intending apparently to send, and a few other odds and ends. And now it is a little bit later, and I think Vor decided that she probably needed a little time after that experience. So we must know what the rest of you are doing at this point. There's still plenty of things going on, and as you know, there's more information now about a little bit about the foreman, a little bit anyway, who was also a descendant of her elegance. There are also all manner of other things going on, and so we must find out what everyone wants to do. I think that, well, let's find out for a moment what Shah has been up to, and that will perhaps help us. What has Shah been up to?
That's a really good question. I would like to say that Shah has been working, but I did not get around to doing any of the dice rolls that would provide anything for Shah to have been working. So yeah, I don't know. I think maybe we could work it out in development session stuff later, sure. But I think that Shah has been looking for ingredients. I think that she's having a really good time spending time with people, and anytime anybody is like, oh, we should do this thing, she's been like, yes, but her sort of introverted workaholic side has not been allowed to come out and play. So I think that she's pretty much locked herself in the room with the forge and just, set it, maybe she even set a lock on the door so she couldn't let herself out. Yeah. So that she could spend some time tending to her properly geometrically shaped vegetables and, making some things in her workshop.
Excellent. Yeah. Thomas had been hanging out for a little while. You found him back at your mine, and I think you started working for a bit, and you ended up sort of sending him outside to play, so that's kind of what happened. He went and he was out playing, so I think actually I'm going to draw a card now, so that we can find out how that's been going, how your work has been going that you have been doing, and then I'm going to ask you a question because I think I'd like to do that. All right, let me let's move it over here. Yes. All right. So the card in question. Let me take a look. The card in question is the Raven. I don't know if we've actually had the Raven yet.
I know, but that's my animal.
Ooh. So it is
Secret Raven book.
It is the companion of secrets. Raven's books in flame are associated with it. Meanings are jealousy, sight, and trickery. Companion to the secrets family, the Raven sees everything and tells nothing. The Raven is smarter and wiser than it ever lets on. Its intelligence, however, manifests in its crafty solutions to problems. Some might use the word cheating, in fact. The raven's weakness is greed and jealousy. It wants what you have, and that probably means your secrets. Can you keep them from its watchful eyes? Is it even worth trying? In divination, the raven has both positive and negative connotations. Most commonly, it indicates that someone is watching, jealous, usually someone unexpected. It's also a warning to beware of greed and trickery. On the positive side, however, it advises vigilance or suggests that there's a trick involved in what one must do to succeed. Either means that there's a problem that can be overcome. All right. And you said this is your animal?
Yeah, my heart relationship is secret raven and book.
Okay. So, yeah, there's a mechanic in here, but I don't know if we're going to end up engaging with it. If we do, I shall dive more deeply. But there's I know that at the very least there's going to be an association here. So it seems as though I think in part of the work that you're doing in light of this, that I think possibly someone is covetous of what you are doing to some extent. You may be aware of this. And in light of this, I'd actually like you to tell me how your work has been going.
How my work has been going. I think that my work has been unproductive, but progressive. So I think that I haven't been able to really finish anything, but kind of going along with where Shah Gamelan started at the beginning of the game, that I've been looking more into the different ways that people approach material, like the way Goetics approach material and the way that the Gowlers approach the cage material, like the way that everyone does objects, and looking at the parts of that that are not being used by the makers to try to understand maker magic better. And I think that I've been making a lot of progress in that understanding, but that I haven't really figured out how I take that understanding and translate it into a new object.
Okay. Yeah. So there's probably some kind of either research that could be done or someone perhaps you can consult that might be able to help you with this. As far as that step, right? Actually translating it, realizing it. And I mean, if you get this device built that you're working on, I feel like that's going to help,
Right.
as well. So it's funny though, trying to first obtain the understanding to gain greater understanding.
Right.
But at least the problem has been identified. So that is a good thing. I think, yeah.
I think that maybe I've been making a lot of trinkets. Like
Yeah.
I get up every day and do kind of the blacksmithing equivalent of playing scales. So it's possible that some of those things have created more than I think they have. But I wouldn't know it at this point.
Okay. Good. Yeah. You're, so there is a messaging system that I'm kind of imagining that has been put in, that was put in this neighborhood, that is almost never used, even though there was great insistence that it be there. But you hear a little buzz as a little message drops down into this tube. drops down to the end of this tube through this pipeline that has been erected in this neighborhood.
Awesome. Like a big pneumatic tube kind of
Yes.
set. I go over and slide open the door and pull out the container and open it to see the message that's inside.
A neighborhood presentation is coming in 5 days. Do you have... Are you prepared? Please talk to your HOA for details. And it's in Karen's handwriting.
Of course. Do I have any idea what a neighborhood presentation is?
No clue, probably, unless you have, unless this is something that you have wanted to talk to Karen about. Probably not.
Nope. I don't think there's ever been anything that Shaw wanted to talk to Karen about.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I would take all of my things and just sort of scrape them off the desk into boxes and sigh and go up and go to see if Karen and her 1.5 children are out and about.
Okay. So you're going to do that. Let me now I'm going to hop over and find out a little bit more about what else has been going on. What's everybody else doing?
So I thought that at the end of that spidering adventure, we came up with the idea that we should try out that working that we discovered at someone else's house. And I think we had decided that Shaw's mine would be the perfect place for this to go down, because how likely is it that a mine would sprout legs and walk around?
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. Let's see. So there was a working found. Let me go ahead and pull up that information here.
We found an invocation named Beseech.
Beseech, yes.
Right.
Okay.
I think I'd be reading that book we found it in along the way.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and so I need to pull up the fun part is here I need to pull up the chapter that was in, and then I need to actually pull up the document that it points me to so that I can remember which one that is. So let's see. Beseech is in the way. It's on page 31, so I'm going to go grab that. The way. All right. Beseech. This is a level 5 invocation. So it needs a few things. Incense for 1 crystal orb worth, vellum inscribed with as much history and detail as possible about the being involved. 3 leaves of gratitude or other emotion depending on the visualized perception of the being involved. Cost 75 crystal orbs. 4 hours preparation, 1 hour performance. Practitioner calls upon a higher power named in the performance, offering gifts in the form of emotions. The practitioner asks for a specific favor. The favor can be anything, but to have a chance at success, the favor should be something within the power of the being and something the being would do in theory, no ethical barriers. If the practitioner gains the attention of the being, they will not physically manifest, but will arrive as a disembodied spirit. Usually the being will ask questions to gain clarification as to what the Vizsla wants them to do and why. Many beings will ask for something in return, usually in the form of a task, not a gift or payment. Some may ask for a favor to be named later. Beseech does not compel the contacted being in any way. It is pale magic. So that is the description of that. Is there a particular being that you're interested in contacting?
I would suppose that we would need to do some research as to what
Yeah.
kind of being would help. My
Yeah.
assumption is that we would want to beseech a being to basically open up Limerence Street for us.
Would it happen to mention who there was? It was a Verigar was trying to summon in the book I have.
There wasn't really. Let me see here. There is a mention of trying to figure out. I think it's possible he was thinking about trying to use it on the Seeker. Although he kind of realized, that might be a terrible idea. And so that's it's reasonable to suggest that there were thoughts about that. I think he was looking for allies to try to deal with the Seeker, if nothing else. Let me see here. Yeah. I had a thought and then it went away, so I'm sure it'll come back in a moment. But anyway, that seemed to kind of indicate sort of what was being looked into there. So, and
those
also,
are
the notes in there too.
Is the Seeker from like the Secret Connections one?
So the Seeker of Souls, the being that you folks have been encountering sort of in alleyways near where Limerence Street used to be.
Well, that's just plain silly. That guy didn't talk whatsoever.
Not at all.
So I think
who it was that he was. Yeah, he doesn't really specify exactly who it was that he was trying to use that invocation on when the spidering started. Just in his notes is like just something Seeker ? And there are a few. There are a number of very powerful beings out there. So it could have been any number of them.
we really want to try this invocation? Yeah, and that's what Mac would be asking Aroshka and Shantano, seeing is that...
Well, no one else seemed to be able to have helped us get into Limerence.
It's true. I mean, I'm pretty confident that could get this invocation done, but I mean, half the battle is just trying to determine what being exactly to call on.
Right.
So there is one person we can talk to.
I definitely don't think we should try it until we're 100% certain who we want to contact.
Is there anywhere we can look up that kind of thing, like different beings that we could try to contact?
I have two options. One is I could summon a spirit of knowledge and consult them, or we can consult Charles Abernathy, who is a more advanced member of my order, who could provide us some insight. Or maybe we could go and ask Karen.
Oh, that's right. You can find out almost anything there.
No,
as long as you
I would normally go to Charles Abernathy, but maybe it would just be a good idea to talk to Karen. I mean, the thing is that we're probably going to be doing this out of Shaw's house.
Well, it is close to Shaw's. Might save us some time.
why don't we do that? Should we bring something like a bundt cake or something?
I suppose it would be polite.
Yeah, we should go find a bundt cake.
Perhaps some boxed wine.
Boxed one.
Pink.
Pink. Yeah, we should totally find the boxed wine to match the bundt cake. I mean, it would show that we are very genteel people.
So there are a couple of stores that are actually quite near that part of the neighborhood. It depends on whether you want an artisanal bundt cake or just a plain bundt cake.
Oh, I think that with Karen we have to go artisanal.
Okay, so there's a home goods store just down the street from the Church of across the street from the bulk store.
I go to the bulk store. We'll get the boxed wine from the bulk store.
Is the home goods store that one that makes all the stuff that nobody wants, or is that the other shop that basically turns all the material goods that nobody wants into something that's actually nice?
It's that one.
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah. That's
Okay.
what the home goods store is.
Okay. Well, we're going to need some materials first, so maybe we need to go to the big box store first, and then go to the home goods store.
Okay. So.
No, I just think it sounds like a plan.
So, you are making your way to the bulk store. I think there are two ways I could do this. Yeah. Yeah, there are going to be ways to go through that you can probably get there without actually already considering the direction you're coming from. All right. Okay, gotcha. So I think in the first part of this, so Shah, if you are ascending, and you come out of your mine. You do not see Thomas anywhere, but he comes and goes. Right now, the scent of indifference is in the air, and you look up as you're coming out. You can see to your right the road leading up to the cul-de-sac, and you sort of glance to the left, and for just a moment, you think you see Max Shantano and Aroshka standing in front of the bulk store, way down the road.
I tap my tool bracer and pull out a small viewfinder to look farther and look and see if it's them.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like you kind of see briefly as they're sort of passing between buildings, because the entrance is on the side facing that's the other street, and so you kind of have to move up a little bit, and you pull out your viewfinder. And yes, it does look like it is indeed they. They are entering the bulk store.
Oh, well, I should probably go say hello. So I dust metal fragments off my metal clothes and head towards the bulk store.
Now, wait. Let me see if I can grab my my info here on the bulk store. Because I remember a few things, but they are strange, strange things.
Yeah, it just has a cryptic note on the map that says, "It all has a cost."
Yeah. I think that there's a lot in there that's free, or seemingly free, or an awesome deal. So, as you're heading in, you know, I think I might actually even have, notes somewhere, in a document.
Wow.
I know, but
Such fanciness, Jen.
goodness knows where that document is. I'm sure we'll figure it out. As you are, oh, there it is. Okay, this is everything we know already. That's fine. So, you head down. So, you immediately hear the muzak. As you all sort of enter. I don't know if you've been in this store before, any of you, but it is this very large kind of emporium, big chain type deal. So it seems impossibly wide inside, and there are all these shelves going that are like impossibly tall, heading toward the back. And yet you can still see ceilings with fluorescent lighting. As you are entering, you note that the grocery section is on your right, and the clothing is immediately to your left. And there are other departments as well.
Well, you know, guys, what I find fascinating about this is that we can walk in phalanx, shoulder to shoulder, and still not even take up a third of the aisle.
It's a little unsettling.
It reminds
Just a
me of the
little.
gray, actually. Some amalgam of BJ's and Costco's. Walmart. I don't even know what we would want to bring to the home goods store to turn into a bun cake. Maybe if we talk to the items, they might be able to sell us on liberating them from this place and breaking them to a.
Wait, so we don't know the ingredients for bundt cake, and you want me to ask them if they know what other ingredients they should combine with to create a bundt cake?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying that the home goods store turns basically crap into acceptable consumables, and maybe they could turn anything from I don't know, that liquid Drano over there, or the box of coat hangers into a nice moist bun cake.
Shah, you're hearing the tail end of this as you come inside. You see they're standing in the middle of this massive aisle, looking around, bewildered.
I'm pretty sure for bunt cake you just need a good blunt object. You just need to know how to take out the L.
It's BUNDT.
I walk up behind everybody and say, "Why are we making a bundt cake?"
Oh, hey, Shaw.
Well, you see, it's been a wonderful day to have terrible ideas.
Oh, Is making a bundt cake a terrible idea?
No. No. But the person we're going to give it to her is a terrible idea.
Oh. Well, who are we giving a bundt cake to?
Karen. And we're going to bring boxed wine as well.
Oh.
Like I said, a terrible idea.
I mean, only in that then you'll be trapped in conversation with Karen while she eats a bundt cake. Are you... Is this part of the neighborhood thing that she's been going on about?
The what?
Oh, never mind. I got a note. There's a neighborhood... Oh, God. What was it? Neighborhood...
Presentation.
A neighborhood presentation, and I don't even know what that is. I didn't know if that's what your bundt cake was for.
No.
Oh no, we were just going to ask her for some information about possible beings to summon with a beseech invocation.
Oh.
Oh, maybe we can find out what it is about. Cha? Remember that spell we learned together?
Oh. I do. It's right here in my hand. Oh, that's true. I mean, we could. But also, I don't know if I would ask Karen questions. I would maybe go to the school and see if that would teach you anything.
Is Karen not to school?
Oh, no. Her children just attend the school. The school is odd. If you play by the... It's kind of like Karen, because you do have to play by the rules when you go. But you just go in and go to school, and then you know things.
Does a school want boxed wine?
I don't know.
I'll get it just in case.
I mean, worst case scenario, we could drink boxed wine.
That's true.
Oh no, I don't drink boxed wine.
Okay, well, you won't then.
I mean, I feel like we should all bring some boxed wine because that's kind of what we drink in elementary school, right?
It's like juice boxes.
Like a juice box. So,
Yes.
you know, we're here. We might as well shop for some boxed wine. So, you know, get some straws and, you know, we have our snack time.
Yeah, we just need boba straws to go into the boxes of wine.
and then the bundt cake would be our you know, snack.
That does sound sensible.
Yeah. Okay,
That's-
so we've got a new plan.
It still involves bundt cake and also boxed wine. Maybe less stupid, or more stupid, possibly.
I think for bundt cake, you just need cake mix.
Oh, but
It's true. I think bundt cake is just a cake baked in a bundt pan.
But I thought we were going to try to go for some artisanal bundt cake, so we were just going to shop for materials here to exchange at the home goods store for.
They get very upset here about the home goods store.
There are a couple of you see a couple of blue-shirted employees. They're just sort of that appear at the end of an aisle.
Yeah, I
Sort
mean,
of looking out at you.
yeah, I think we're here to actually get a medicine cabinet and some towel racks for our for Shaw's mine. Yeah, that's it.
Of course.
I think to make something artisanal, we just have to call ourselves artisans, right?
I guess that sound.
Shaw stands up very straight and says, I am an artisan.
Well, then you should make the bundt cake because then it's artisanal.
I could, but then it would be a metal bundt cake.
That's fair, I guess.
some of the store employees you see around here are now starting to whisper to each other.
I think we should just get some box cake mix. And then go to the other place.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay.
Something's
So,
happening. I think
so
we
Mac
might
is
be
just
going
going
for a
to
bite
look
of
over
cake.
to the employee.
Maybe consider going somewhere else. We're not sure. Yes. Sorry. Yeah.
Yes, where is the cake mix?
Oh yes, you just head down here for about. It's on aisle 20. If you just proceed in aisle 20, third instance, you can just head over, and there will be all manner of cake mixes there. Any kind of cake you could ever possibly want, without any need to improve it.
Wow.
Oh,
I am
okay,
so
then.
excited for standard issue cake right now. So let's go, guys.
Yes, let's.
Let me go find the boxed wine. We can do two things at once.
Yes. Let's split the party in the bulk store. What could possibly go wrong?
I mean, if I've learned anything from RPGs, absolutely nothing.
The boxed wine is on aisle 237. Instance 1.
Seems like it's probably a long ways away. Seems inconvenient.
Oh, it's ever so convenient. It's right near the back where everyone knows where it is.
Do you have shuttles to the aisles?
If not, you should consider it.
We do, as a matter of fact. And, after a fashion, they point. These employees actually all look very similar to each other, so it's hard to identify exactly which one is which. But they point, and you see that there is a section of the floor that has a moving conveyor belt on it. And there are sections that actually have, like, chairs that are attached to the conveyor belt. That have, like, this sort of, this plastic, or some kind of metal and plastic thing over it, a bar over it, where you have to, like, put in an orb, and it'll open, so you can use the chair. Otherwise, you can stand on the conveyor belt, and it will take you toward the back of the store. Now, you actually could get there a little bit faster by walking, but if you stand on the conveyor belt, you won't have to walk. It's just a little bit slower than walking.
That also seems horribly inconvenient.
We also have drone service for members.
How much is membership?
Oh, wow. For the first 7 days, it's free.
I don't mean to be obtuse, but can you cancel it on the 6th day?
Why would you want to cancel it? It's wonderful being a member. But of course, yes, you can cancel at any time.
And what does that process look like?
Well, you just go to the customer service office over there and tell them you want to cancel, and then there's a little bit there, some just a couple of really easy forms to go through, and then you'll be canceled.
I think it would actually be just less troublesome if we just use the conveyor belt.
I mean, or we could just walk. As inconvenient as that would be.
I feel like this is starting to become some sort of episode of Seinfeld.
What's Seinfeld?
It's a shadow show.
It's nothing, really. All right, let's just grab the cake mix, and then maybe we'll just go find someplace else to get the box wine. I mean, it's box wine. We don't need it in bulk.
I agree.
Yeah, okay.
Shaw's gonna look really anxiously at all of the employees, and
You're kind of
Kind of
in
wonder
like
why
a,
she
they're in like a
left
semicircle
behind.
around you now.
yeah, she's like, "Why did I go outside?" And she just
They're
like makes a
slowly
beeline
all
for aisle
drawing
20.
closer. Okay, so
So Mac is just going to push through and make a path for everybody else. And
Aroshka's just gonna stand there and ask, like, sort of obtuse and maybe slightly rude questions, but in an incredibly polite fashion, so that they're forced to answer.
Oh my god! Here, let me burn away what's left of your soul.
It's Arashka, our big box store tank.
I'm gonna draw another card to see how this goes.
And I was like, if they get to be too much, I can always call my friend back.
Oh, let's not start a fight with the employees of the store.
I don't know
Might
how
be
much of a
overkill.
fight it would be.
murder's too good here.
Oh my god.
Not their fault they've been brainwashed by this weird corporate entity.
So, oh, there it is. Excellent, excellent. All right. So I have drawn the revealing knife, which we've had before. Again, it's
Also, I mean, if I don't like it, I can just... I'm an apostate. So if I hate it, I can just go, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. They're apparently that applies to only certain one.
Oh, does
there's
it?
like, I think it's like if you draw. There's one of these cards. I think it's the Apprentice is the one where you actually are down a bit, or more vulnerable a bit on your magic, and you can ignore that. And the other ones you generally wouldn't want, maybe wouldn't want to because of their bonuses. But yeah, there are certain things you can ignore. But pale is up, green is down. Visions. Its meanings are revelation, discovery, and finesse. The revealing knife cuts everything. It slices through buildings. It can slice right through a tin can. There are demos of it right here in the store. Careful, precise action is what is needed. There are secrets to be discovered. Okay. So you ask these questions, and it's like as you do so, the others begin slowly melting away, kind of trying to escape. Until there's only one employee left.
The pointed questions of doom.
And this employee has been answering your questions. And as faithfully as possible. And then after a little while, it seems like they're repeating their answers. Even to different questions. It's like what they say kind of applies, but it's like they've gotten into a mode where they've got a predisposed, kind of almost pre-recorded answer for everything in their mind. And it's the thing that you're finding is like you're realizing that that you're starting to see the cracks a little bit. That there's like something, it's like if you ask something so specific, if you ask something very specific, you might break through their programming and do who knows what to them. It's like there are boss commands or something that that you might be able to figure out, or at least get them to. It's kind of like, that whole tripping up a computer type thing by getting it to divide by 0. You could do this here with a pointed enough question.
Store this information away for the future. In the meantime, I'm just trying to be annoying.
Excellent. So, is everyone waiting around while Eroshka is doing this, or?
No.
I tailed it to aisle 20.
Yeah.
Quick!
Back to
While they're distracted!
I'd be waiting just to see what happens.
Okay. So Shantano and Eroshka are watching to see how much punishment this employee can take. So Shaw and Mac head up.
Has Shantano also noticed that he could possibly break them via a very pointed question?
I think this is the kind of thing Shantano looks for just in general, so yes. I think Shaw and Mac head up to aisle 20, which is not that far away, relatively speaking. And you see these towers of cake mix, very neatly organized. There are many, many flavors. So many flavors.
Are half of them really the same thing, just with a different name?
Quite possibly, yes. They're all very generic brands, and they all come in these massive boxes. Bulk boxes, basically. And then there are smaller boxes in packages of like 3. Like 2 and 3. And there are many flavors that look like that seem to be sort of variants of things like chocolate and vanilla and strawberry, and then things chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry there is the most of, and then you'll have other things, banana. You'll have things with various types of nuts in them. You will have things with that sort of our other sort of venture into other flavors. There are prune flavored bundt cake, celery flavored bundt cake, bundt cake flavored bundt cake.
What kind of cake do you want to make, Mac?
So Mac is just staring at the bundt cake flavored bundt cake, and you just hear him whisper, "Buntception."
Do you know what bundt cake flavor is?
Yes, it's the taste of mediocrity.
I think that's the flavor we want. Is it?
Oh, that's right. We're making it for ourselves and not for Karen. Right.
Well, I mean, we could make it for Karen in case she shows up and we need to distract her with cake. I don't know. I'm not really clear on the plan at this point.
I don't think anyone really is. We just do things, and I think that's okay.
Okay.
But definitely we should take the bun flavored bun cake.
It seems the most authentic.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Really got a good eye for ingredients. Grab that, and you'll grab the banana one too, just because he likes banana flavored. And
So the the bunt flavored bunt cake is you see it is the it actually says on the side the bunt cake of authenticity.
oh well, now I know we've got the great brand. He's just going to point out the seal of authenticity.
Yeah.
I don't know if this will be as certain as this grilled cheese sandwich, which he, somehow reproduces or pulls out of his pocket. But I think we can get pretty close.
Oh. Did you just... Never mind. I try not to be surprised.
The banana flavored bunt cake has a similar seal on it that says the bunt cake powered by the bananas of vacillation.
What?
Huh.
Well, I guess we should go find everybody else and get out of here.
Yeah. And so he's going to follow, but he's going to be looking at the two cake mixes and just think, what happens if we combine these two?
Bananas? Bandanas?
Buntanas?
Bananas.
I think it's time for...
Bananas?
I think we're going to have to really experiment with this. Okay.
That would be bananas.
As you are heading to the end of the aisle, you see someone who is wearing another blue vest, but also a tie, just appear at the end of the aisle. Just comes around the corner. Excuse me, was someone here speaking of experimentation?
No, we're just talking about how worlds should not collide in bun cakes, and that we're looking forward to a taste of the ordinary.
His eyes seem to be burrowing into your soul for a moment.
Just gonna make 2 different bunt cakes. Just like normal.
Well, it's good. It's your lucky day then, because if you can mix and match, you buy one mix, you get the second free.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
And also a pack of this pack of vanilla. And he reaches, and from thin air he produces vanilla cupcake mix.
Oh, but we were just making bunt cakes. We don't need that vanilla cupcake mix.
But it's free.
But we're fine.
We'll take this. Is there kielbasa flavored bun cake here?
Oh.
Recall that we're eating the bun cake. So you make that one, you get that one.
Well, I don't know. I think you're going to want this before you leave. But yes, the kielbasa bundt cake is up toward the end of the aisle, shelf 30, I believe.
Oh, okay. Would you do us a favor? We're a bit peckish at the moment. Would you mind fetching it for us? Meeting us at the register?
Of course.
Thank you.
And he snaps his fingers, and a team of employees appears behind him. And he says, to shelf 30. These customers require assistance. And they immediately, terrified, they begin pelting down this aisle and running for the ladder on wheels to try desperately to go and get the kielbasa flavored bundt cake.
Yeah, it's at that point that Mac tugs on Shaw's sleeve and starts walking hurriedly towards the the register.
I will perhaps out-hurry you.
So I assume you're not going to go back and get the boxed wine.
No, we decided we were going elsewhere for boxed wine.
Okay, all right, good to know. All right, I shall have to shelve these names of boxed wine for later then. So
Now I'm
Do
sad.
we see the two of them hurrying out? Can we?
Well, I need to find out a little bit more about what you're doing to this one employee before you see them. You have figured out how to get the employee to loop, and to go down into different places in the conversation tree, which you can almost see in front of you at this point. Is there something in particular you would like to throw at this employee? Do you want to try to destabilize them, or are you just distracting them?
I was just distracting them, but I like now I'm looking for Shaw because I wish to share this exciting information with her.
Okay. Shantanu, are you just sort of watching as this goes on, or are you throwing things in as well?
I think I'm egging Arushka on.
Excellent. All right.
So like, do I see Shaw?
So
Go by.
after a moment, it's almost as though you can see steam coming out of the employees' ears as they continue to answer the same question, but it's okay. I guess we see Shaw and Mac. Are you running, or are you
We're really power walking down the aisle because we don't want to cause too much attention.
Yeah.
But
It's kind of like, it's like you're looking around. There are people here shopping happily, and there are employees who occasionally just sort of glance over as you're power walking, but they not in time to catch your eye.
If any of the employees comes near Mac or tries to speak to Mac, says, "Oh, your manager is looking for you in aisle 20, shelf 30."
2030, eh? And they vanish immediately when you say that to them. Oh, that one does anyway.
Do we see Shaw and Mac hurrying by?
No, you see them coming.
So I clap this poor employee genially on the shoulder and I say, "Thanks for the help," and then I just walk away. I sidle up to Shaw and I'm like, "Hey, guess what?
What?
I found out something really exciting about this place. Possibly we shouldn't discuss it here, but you might be amused."
Did you find a secret?
Yes. Cool one.
I think that Shaw smiles really big, and her fast walk that was like a panicked walk does like a little kind of skip step in the middle of it.
Ooh.
When you slow down to talk to each other, you will start to notice that from a couple of the aisles on either side, from like the clothing department and from the and hanging out around the pineapples, you see some more employees, and they're just sort of like slowly looking suspiciously. Actually, as they come out, they're like, and they look, and they're starting to follow you.
Oh no. I think we need to go.
Yeah, we probably should. And Mac is actually going to pick up a pineapple, too. Just as he's passing by.
So, picked up a pineapple. Okay, good to know. All right. All right. You get to the checkout area. There are several lines of people. They're about like within sight. They're like, and I mean, it goes down for quite a ways, much further than you would think the interior of this building is. All of these different checkout lines. It appears as though maybe a third of them are open, and they have these long lines behind, for each one.
Is there a self-check?
Good question. Let me find out. I'm going to draw another card now. Because I can.
Because that always seems to go so well for us.
I know. It's great. Okay. So the card I've drawn is the Conspirator. This is the Defender of Secrets. I think we've had this card before. Yeah. Conspiratorial action, upheaval, hidden agendas, gossip. So, there is a self-checkout, but it is non-functional at the moment. Apparently it is out of service. However, you catch a moment when you see an employee just kind of like sort of walking toward one of the empty lines, one of the empty kiosks, the empty checkout kiosks, and just sort of catch his eye, and he looks over and he's like,
nice.
as he goes to turn on the light.
I think we slide into that line.
Yeah, so
Not line.
rush up to that place before there's anything, and then the light comes on, and then immediately behind you, this throng appears. People like rushing over from their lines as they see it. And as you kind of come around, there's a bit of architecture in the way before you can see fully what's on the other side, because there's this massive kind of refrigerator underneath these shelves, and this refrigerator has a bunch of drink bottles in it, and then these shelves have a bunch of stuffed animals and other sort of things, knickknacks one might find, magazines. Then you come to these magazine racks, and then when you turn to the employee, and you finally can see him getting ready to take your items, you see that behind him is the manager, who you encountered on aisle 20.
Oh no.
And he's standing there, smiling, holding a 2-pack of kielbasa bunt cake and 3 packs of cupcake mix, vanilla cupcake mix, and a kumquat.
Kumquat.
Just one kumquat?
One kumquat. And he says, and he just sort of leans over to the employee, and he says, they are also getting these free for their purchases. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah. All right, yeah.
Thanks.
And the manager just sort of goes like, anytime. And do shop here again. Just cry out if you need anything, eh?
What is the cost of free?
He said, and he's turned around, and he turns back around, and he says, why, it's free.
No, nothing is truly free.
He sort of leans forward, and he says, well, we won't be charging you a single orb for any of these items. That sounds like that's free to me.
Will you be charging something that's not an orb? Because barter is still not free, sir.
And he says, well, certainly not right now. For now, you're getting these items for free.
I turn away
So-
from the manager and turn to the friendly employee that waved us over and said, I think we don't need these. We'll just take the bunt cake mix.
And the manager just kind of nudges him, and he says, but they're free?
Listen,
But we don't need them and we won't use them, so it's just a waste. We hate wasting things.
yeah, we don't even like when we go to like a Burger King or something and we order like the extra value meals. We don't really actually ask them give us the French fries because we don't really eat the French fries, just the burger and the drink.
The employee is just sort of nodding.
Anyways, if they're free and I don't take them, then it makes no difference, right?
And he's just sort of like, oh, I guess. But and the manager at this point, oh, but they'll just go to waste if you don't take them. They are, after all, here just for you.
Are you implying that no one else could buy these if we don't take them with us? That seems like a poor business strategy.
It is. And then, Mac's voice is just going to sink down to a more lethal sounding level. It's like, listen here. If you make us take these things, I'm going to have Shantano over there pay you with a special coin.
The one that he got from his friend? Murder?
Okay, so we're going to actually have a roll now. Wait a moment. Occasionally we roll in this game, apparently.
Nice.
So let me figure out what level the one of these bulk store floor managers is. I think that bulk store floor manager of this bulk store, at least, has been granted the power of a challenge rating of 4.
He's tough.
So that's so. I think that if Shantano is not
was gonna
Shantano,
say,
well, who is
Matt held
leading
steady
this?
by Aroshka standing there going
Yeah.
dramatically.
Yeah, I think I'm going to grant that as an asset. So, and the fact that you have already kind of figured out how the programming works. And you happen to have caught the employee checking you out. Apparently the programming hasn't fully set in yet. But there. So you get that. So you'd need a 3 or better with that. And then what else would you like to bring into this?
Can I use my resist skill to?
This is an unusual way to do that, but yes, I think I'm gonna let you do that in this case. You're really trying to convince or get the manager to back down. But yes.
Equation.
Yeah, because he is sending a barrage of stuff.
All right.
He basically threatens to throw those things out if we didn't take them.
Okay, you got an 8. Yeah, so the at this point, what happens is that the employee has been checking you out this whole time, and I think the manager at one point, as he's talking to you, kind of just is like, he hears this thing about the coin, and he's like, from murder, and he's like, he has to stop and think about it for a moment. And as he does so, the employee quickly just finishes checking you out, and he says, "And here you are."
He was like, "I want no part of this."
Were you actually... Quick question, though. And this is one of those things that's sort of emphasized by... No, actually, no. Never mind. I assume no one makes a point to pick up the kielbasa bunt cake, do they? Or do you...
No, we just go. We just grab the things that we actually wanted.
And so as you're heading out, the manager is like, just like, but wait! You didn't pick up your the kielbasa flavored cake that you'd ordered.
So what Mac is going to do is he's actually going to pluck one of those feedback commentary cards, and he's just going to start filling it out here, and he's just going to read it off. He's like, checkout. He's going to give it a 5 for the clerk. Customer service. He's going to give a 1 there. And then in the comments section, he's just going to read out loud. It was like, floor manager was awfully pushy about free stuff. He should just learn to take no for an answer. I expect a call from corporate to address this failing, and I will be canceling my membership until this practice is resolved. And then he's gonna hold up the comment card and let it hover over the box in which you submit the feedback in, and then he's just going to wave and then drop it into the box.
And you see the manager visibly, he goes, "No! Oh, curse you! Curse you!"
No,
very well. Thank you for coming by to Bulk Mart. It's as though it physically hurt him when you dropped it in there, really. Your patronage is very much appreciated. And he's there clutching the box, and we see that on the side of the box, the seal on the side of it says, the powered by the kielbasa of devastation.
Like, oh, it's like, oh, well, thank you for your time. And hey, everyone, let's go stop at the home goods store. As he steps out.
So at this point, you see some of the employees starting to emerge from the customer service area. The moment you say that out loud, a couple of them emerge, and they seem to have these knives out.
Box cutters.
These box cutters. As they start looking hungrily at you.
Yeah.
It's like,
run. I turned to the employee that checked us out and said, "You should quit."
The hours are good. Maybe.
Aroshka just leans in and goes, "It's literally turning into a robot." Like claps him on the shoulder and then walks away.
I will take the cake mixes and head straight for the door as fast as I can. And hope there's no greeters.
I think as we're leaving, Shantano's like, "So have you shopped with Karen before, Mac?"
Once we're out of.
Well, you're almost out, but by the door there is someone in a yellow vest who is checking receipts.
Oh God.
As these folks
as he looks at our receipt, I'm going to lean in and be like, "If you make one comment about free items, I will slap you."
Oh, someone's angry.
He just sort of runs the yellow marker over your receipt and just like, have a nice day.
I'm just ready to be out of here.
You bolt out of the store as this horde of employees starts rushing toward you. It seems that once you actually step out of the store, though, as you're heading out, when they start hitting the doors, they stop as though they've hit an invisible barrier, and they sort of pile up on it. They're like.
Are they like the shopping carts? Their feet just lock up when they try to pass over the line.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, and I mean, there are sensors there. They don't go off or anything. The employees just stop there as though they can't go any further.
Sensors don't recognize them.
Well, I mean, yeah, the sensors don't. Well, no, the doors open, but the employees just stop. Actually, the sensors probably don't recognize them either. So you make it out of this, out of the bulk store.
That might be the scariest place in Satterine.
Yeah, I can't say that I want to return.
Are we like out of earshot?
Oh yeah, you're in the parking lot.
I'm like, well, anyway, Sha, I learned the most interesting thing talking to that guy. I was just trying to annoy him, but it turns out he's kind of like a machine. And if you ask just the right question, I think you could probably break him.
Really?
I think they might all be like that, except that one guy.
The manager.
Well, the cashier. I don't think he's been.
Oh, the cashier.
Roboted yet. Anyway, I don't like that place. It reminds me a little bit too much of the Vances.
They also like to follow specific rules and paths.
Yes. And they get very upset if you refuse to do it, as it turns out.
Well, maybe we can go back later when they've forgotten who we are. And then we'll see what we can find out. I don't know if they're robots. It's very hard to make a person a robot, but it's possible that they're stuck in patterns. I don't know.
What happened if you did it to as many of the employees as you could at the same time?
Oh, that is a good idea. I mean, that's an interesting idea. Should we go see if we can trade our cake mix for an artisanal bundt cake?
Yes, let's. Maybe we can get this pineapple to turn into a box wine.
That's a good idea.
I am going to draw another card. Because of course I am. As you're heading toward the, across the street to the artisanal. Alright. And to the artisanal store. Alright. Okay. This one. Is what? What is this one? this one. Ah, yes. So, this one is the Blind Guardian. The two of visions. Meanings are safety, impartiality, serenity, blindness, and challenges. We may have had this a while back. Blind Guardian watches over us like a protector. It's probably our Doric guards. Because of its blindness, it confronts all intruders equally, from the lowest vermin to the most powerful god, from the purest angel to the vilest demon. The blindness also confers a calmness. You never see the Guardian worry or fret, nor will you see it eager or anticipatory. To those that seek what it guards, it is a difficult challenge. You cannot bribe or charm this Guardian, and despite its blindness, or because of it, it is very difficult to fool or deceive. And in divination, although it can represent a challenge arising before one can proceed, typically this card is a positive turn, indicating safety or serenity. If some sort of authority figure or judgment at all is involved, this card indicates that they can be counted on to be impartial. Rarely it suggests literal blindness involved. Okay. So, you are heading across the street, and it's like sort of the whole environment changes. As you hit the midpoint of the street, down at the far end, you have the Church of Stasis. And as you come over, you see the home goods store facing the street. It looks like it's been made of wood. And it has this lovely sort of wood-carved little sign above it that says Home Goods, made of sort of like these letter blocks that have been created. You step up sort of onto this wooden deck in front that has rocking chairs out on it. And each one looking slightly different. And there is, a cheery front door and a bell that rings as you open it. A little sort of ding, 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 ding. The inside of this store, by contrast, looks kind of smaller than the outside. It's like you're coming into. So there's a counter, right, very near the front, made of wood. And there's this little old lady sitting in a rocking chair by the counter knitting. There's a fireplace that's going right now. And you see there are these, there are a few displays. Like there's a window display that you can see, so you can see stuff that's in the windows. But it looks very cozy. It looks like there's a kitchen behind her. It looks very much like it looks like a person's living room in here more than anything else. But there are other exits, but. And there, like I said, a few displays of items, but that's what you're mostly seeing. And she's knitting, and she looks up. How can I help you?
The only place. We'd like to get some boxed wine and some plum cake. Actually.
Well, we have wine here. We don't really put it in boxes usually.
Because you have standards, but yeah.
But if you'd like,
well, it doesn't. It doesn't have to be boxed. We're just trying to simulate being good students and bringing snacks to school, but we don't want to eat children food.
Oh, I see. So you're looking for something that might give the impression of like using the idea of a boxed wine, but it's actually something interesting.
Like a juice box,
box
for adults.
Juice box for adults. I think we can help you there.
Maybe a
And,
silver pouch. But, like, easier to put the straw in.
Or a
I think-
thermos.
I have a sudden vision of a surfer.
I wonder, why is that? I'm thinking of this island in the Mediterranean. I'm not sure why. Yeah, my granddaughter, I think, can help you with that. And she kind of calls over her shoulder, Elsie, could you come out here, please? Elsie comes out. She's wearing a what looks like a vest that was probably knitted by this woman that's sitting in front of you. She looks like she's about maybe approaching middle age. She has long hair that is kind of sort of dark blondish. She comes out. Yes, how can I help you? These folks are looking for something to do something new with a kind of a design on a wine container and perhaps a couple others.
Yes, we brought a pineapple, and some cake mix.
Interesting.
We also pissed off the people at the box store a lot. It was really entertaining.
That is true. I don't think we're going to be welcome back for at least a little while
my
until
goodness.
they forget.
Well, and actually so Elsie is like, yes, and the grandmother just looks up. Now, we don't want to say bad things about our competition. Just because they are our competition doesn't mean that they're not trying just as hard as we are. Well, let's have a look at this mix and see if there's something we can do with it, and this pineapple as well.
And we give her the flavored bunt cake and the banana flavored bunt cake and the pineapple.
Okay, she's looking at these, sort of balancing them.
I think that Shaw definitely has this moment where she's like, I'm pretty sure that these are not ingredients used to make a thing. I'm very confused about how we get from this ingredient to the thing. Like, she has a sudden anxiety about, like, not providing craft materials for crafting.
She's nodding slowly. You want to combine all three of these?
No.
Would you
want
like wine made out of this? She says, holding up the pineapple.
We want a snack and a drink because we're being good students and bringing a snack to school.
Yes, I think that works. So,
Pineapple wine does sound good, though.
Interesting to say the least.
Well, we can certainly see about making wine out of this. These, yes. It would be interesting. Although this, in general, it's probably more, it'd be faster to just make a liquor out of it. But we could also probably do a wine. And she looks up. Elsie, could you take these nice people back to the vineyard while I'm examining their cake? And she says, yeah, certainly. And she says, you'll need this, she says, handing the pineapple to Elsie. And Elsie's like, oh, okay, thank you. Yeah. This way. And so Elsie's going to take you through one of the one that looks like one of the rear doors. And you actually do go past this area where you have shelves, these wooden shelves, with a number of different things on them. There's each thing on the shelf looks unique, basically. as you're getting in, you sort of on the one side you do have this cooler with sort of a glass covering, and you can see different types of beer and different types of different liquors also that are around, different bottles, and sort of all these sort of independent brews.
Do any of them come in a box or a pouch or a thermos?
I thought we were giving them that idea. We're asking them to create.
Yeah,
one
none of them
for
come
us.
in. None of them come in those, but she is grabbing like a couple of things off the shelves as you're heading back, and she says, "Oh, yeah, there. You have to forgive Grandma. She has a very specific way of looking at things, but I definitely think this is exciting. I think there are definitely some things we can do with this. Here we go." And you turn a corner, and you see there's this kind of it's like a little greenhouse type deal, and inside you see there are a few rows of vines that are up on these sort of wooden stalks that have been nailed into these areas that are kind of above these sort of boxed areas, sort of garden type. You're basically in a sort of little garden here, and she takes you past those where you can see that there's someone who's sort of in a hat, in that one of those sort of hats that broad brimmed hat. There's kind of an older man with a broad brimmed hat. He just looks up and waves as you pass. Who's getting some grapes off the vine. And there are other customers in here, but it's sort of as you're wandering around. As you go past, you see that there's this sort of little. You enter a room that's that's got the wall is sort of like a sort of a almost kiln-looking sort of clay sort of deal, and you go in, and there are people sort of that are a couple of these sort of big buckets that a couple of people can stand in, and they're stomping on grapes and possibly other things, and she then heads over. And so she heads over to one of these, and she says, "Oh, just a second. Hey, what can you do with this?" And they pick up the pineapple, and they're like, "Yeah, I think we can. Yeah, I think we can make something out of this. You want wine? Wine?" And then sort of looks down. You want this turned into wine?
Yeah, I think so. That was the plan.
Oh, we've got you. And they drop the pineapple whole into the thing, and you hear them starting to stomp on it, and they're like, "Give me just a second."
I suddenly feel like this was a very inconsiderate idea.
They're very happy while they're doing it, it seems. There doesn't appear to be any blood loss, but you can't really see that far down. As they're working on it, they're like, back here, and Elsie heads to the back where there are a few tables, and there are see, she's not. You don't need to go into the glass blower area. This is this is more like thermoses and what have you. So she turns around, she shows you, okay, well, I've got this, and she shows, she actually has a thermos that she's picked up. And then we've got some of these, and it looks like sort of sheets of, it's kind of like sheets of sort of stuff that you would make tarps out of, sort of a silvery tarp. To kind of cover something, to protect it from either the rays of the sun or rain, depending on which type of tarp it is. And she says, I think we could make this into something that's kind of like the sort of silver pouch type thing you were talking about. We've got these. I think we can probably make some boxes for you. They'd be wooden, but they'd operate a lot like the juice boxes are. A lot like sort of juice boxes do, if I remember those correctly.
Okay. So should we choose between those two things? Both
Oh,
of
I can
those
make
are
any.
options
We can make
for
any
the
of
wine.
those. Oh yeah,
Oh.
we can make any of those for you. So you can either choose, or we can do one of each, or whatever you like.
Do we prefer pouches or boxes?
Pouches seem easier to carry, and they're not made of wood, ? So less likely to break.
It seems like the pouches might be closer to what we're trying to emulate.
Okay, all right, yeah, certainly we can do that. I think that we might have a few things that are made of cardboard. If you want us to try for the boxes, that we could turn into them. But yeah, we can definitely do this. Yeah. And so she's going to. She say, "I'll be back in just a minute, in just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and get these and get them set up with these." She's going to go actually take it to their seamstress to make the pouches, which she does. She goes. After a little bit, there is a sort of a filtering and cleansing as one of the folks that was there in one of the buckets hops down, sort of turns a few valves on some pipes. They get this big glass jar, and they put it under one of the pipes. And it just sort of looks over at you. It's filtering. Where it's almost ready. Turns the valve on the pipe, and this kind of golden liquid pours down into this jar, filling it almost to the top. So he takes the jar and closes it, and is like, and turns around. We can get these into your containers in just a little bit if you like. But here it is. Did you want to try it before we do that?
Could we please?
Absolutely. And they get these. So there are these. There are these glasses. That each one looks different. He takes down from a shelf. They're wine glasses. He pours a little bit. There's just a little bit. They're like sample glasses. So they're a little smaller. Just pours a little bit into each one, and hands them to you.
I take a sip.
No, it's actually so pineapple wine. It is so it has that interesting sort of thing where you can kind of, I don't know how much. Okay, well, first of all, is Shaw a wine person or no?
I think Shaw is a wine person in shadow.
Okay, so you get some hints that this. It seems like somehow they were able to age the shell of the pineapple a little bit, as they were doing this, even though the pineapple, the meat of the pineapple itself, was still preserved. So it seems like so it's got just sort of a hint of that in it, it tastes a tiny little bit. There's a tiny bit of acrimony in it because it was the pineapple of acrimony. But aside from that, it's more like, it's not like it makes you acrimonious. It's more like a study on acrimony that you can reflect on in a sophisticated fashion whilst wearing a smoking jacket. You drink this and you feel as though you're wearing a smoking jacket. That's what I'm trying to say.
I turn to Shatno and say, "Oh, I think you'll like this one."
Does it digest you while you're eating it like real pineapple does?
It does bite back just a tiny bit, but a lot of that, they when they tried to sort of balance it, they did. It does seem as though whilst the pineapple has generic origins, it has been at least cured a bit so that it doesn't snap at you unexpectedly. It's like a slow build as you take in the aroma of it, and then also as you drink it, that kind of comes up so that it will just lightly slap at your palate a bit without actually being overbearing and stinging it.
I will definitely turn to the people who made the wine, since they're right there, and say, "It's very good. It's a very complex structure that you've created. Thank you so much for your work."
Oh, thank you. Thanks very much. And there, sort of nods. Well, glad we could be of help. It's always fun taking on new challenges like that. And he limps off to get some bandages for his feet.
We're the worst.
People are very dedicated. That's all I'm gonna say.
They just love making wine so much.
They do.
They're willing to make a great deal of sacrifice.
That's right. Elsie comes back, and she has these 4 juice packets that have tropical scenes on them that have been painted on. And she says, "Okay, well, let's go ahead and get these in." Oh, excellent. How is it?
Very interesting. You should try some.
Oh, I think it will after once we get these in. Looks really good. It looks really good. I'm very tempted. I'm very tempted. I did have half a glass of kumquat liquor a little earlier today, though. So I want to pace myself. But let's see over here. So there is this sort of area where there's this kind of funnel. This wall full of funnels, and she takes them out and sort of looks until she finds the one that she wants, and she puts it in the bag, and she actually has each of you hold the bags, while she's pouring it in. She pours it in carefully, and then sort of does the sort of tie thing over and it seals the bag. And she says, "All right, yes. And so we have these little straws that you can just punch in. If I remember right, remember to cover the end of the straw when you're doing it, otherwise it may not work. When you punch into this little sort of area right here, this little tabbed area, I painted a little ring around it, and so that's where you aim for. And that'll you've got your pockets of pineapple wine."
Thank you, Elsa. You've truly thought of everything.
Oh, thanks so much. That does mean a lot.
Craftsmanship is exquisite. Reminds me of Shaw's work, actually.
Yes, this wine is quite good. It's not in a box, so I can drink it.
Oh, that's right. Are you in that mine a block over?
Oh, yes, that's my house.
It is delightful.
Thank
so
you.
where you see something that where you see something where someone wants to try to do something unique.
Thank you. Are you and your grandmother makers, or are you just making things?
Jim hasn't fully decided that. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, we. Oh yeah, Grandma and I are. We don't really make it out to guild stuff very much. But,
Oh.
we're kind of our own sort of unit.
That's wonderful. I've been doing some new work and explorers, but I've been having trouble sort of breaking through to finish anything.
Oh really?
Maybe, I mean, if you wouldn't mind, I could bring some fruit by sometime and we could chat.
Oh, that'd be great.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
I look forward to it. Well, feel free to look around all you like. I think you know the way back to the front. But just yell if you need anything. And she melts off into the store.
I think we should head back out front and see what happened with our cake mix.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I mean, grandmothers and cake mix can't go wrong, right, Aroshka? It seems like a match made for success.
That's right. Let's draw a card.
Damn it!
Why would you say something like that to Jim? Because
I mean, the line's right there. It's impossible to not take the opportunity.
There's no death card, is there? If we get a death card on Bunt Cake,
God. Murder bunt cake.
Ah.
No, there's no death card. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. I've drawn the untrustworthy mirror. This is the Four of Mysteries.
wow.
Meanings or illusion, false identity, failure.
Oh, this is the same card that Vor got for the divination.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is that card. Okay. Huh. All right. Now I need to figure out how to connect this to a bunt cake. That's the important thing, really. Words, phrases we didn't think we'd say today. You head back to the front. And, this, this little old lady is putting, you see this bunt, you see this bunt cake that the grandmother is putting icing on. Just fully formed, sitting on top of the stove, of her iron stove. As she does so, she says, "Oh, it'll be ready in just a moment. It'll be ready in just a moment. It's almost there." I think, and as you do so, Someone's going to notice something here. And I need to figure out who it is. I think it's either going to be Mac or Shantano that notices this. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, actually, we don't. Yeah, I know now. I know now how this will work. Mac, you hear Thomas speak up. And he's like, "Oh." She's like those other not ghosts.
What do you mean?
The not ghosts at 13 Station.
Sorry, I don't think I understand where you're going with this.
Like they're ghosts, but they're not ghosts. Like, you know, like you remember something, or you have a dream of something. She's like that.
You mean like an illusion? Concept?
No, she's there. Yeah.
Does that mean she's dangerous?
I don't know. I don't think so.
That cake gonna hurt us in some fashion? These are the important questions.
I hope not. I don't know. She finishes icing the cake. She looks up and she says, I did just manage to, I think, get those into something that's truly interesting. It's something that's 2 things at a time. I made some extra if you'd like to try it. And she takes out, there are these little tins in which there are these sort of little miniature versions of these bundt cakes without the icing on them. Although actually she has sort of some icing next to it that she can put on if you would like to try it with the icing. Because it's banana, I went with a sort of a raspberry-based icing that I think is going to offset it very nicely.
Well, that does sound very interesting.
Yes.
It's when you're trying to maintain the essence of what it is, which is not really that interesting, but I dressed it up as best I could.
Oh. Shantano would give it a try.
Pick up one of these sample bundt cakes. And you can put some icing on if you want. Up to you.
Yeah, let's do that icing.
Okay, you do the icing. And it actually, it's interesting because it is the, so... This feels both authentic and unsure of itself at the same time. It is authentically unsure of itself, but it is also that at its core, which this, again, is the bundt cake of authenticity mixed with the bananas of vacillation. Bundt cake powered by the bananas of vacillation, I should say. It is a step removed. it does retain that, but it appears to have been combined in a way as to sort of tell a story about a thing that is perhaps not entirely sure of itself, but this cake accepts the fact that that's okay. The icing, the raspberry icing on the cake, however, does hint tantalizingly at future possibilities. It is a good cake.
I think Shaw has taken a bite of the cake and just looks deeply uncomfortable in this kind of like, I feel really exposed way. Like, I just came here to have cake and I feel so called out right now.
I'm in this bunt cake and I don't like it.
I don't like it.
Yeah,
So,
strangely familiar.
Mac is actually eating the cake, and then he'll just sink down into an empty rocking chair, filled with deep thought and introspection. And then he's just gonna whisper, "I think I need a hug right now."
Oh, you poor dear. And she's if I made it too strong, I can try again. And she comes over, and the grandma comes over, and she will come over to, and she will hug you if you allow it.
He allows it. He's like, "Thank you, Lola," and using the Filipino term for grandmother. And yeah, so he's gonna be like, "Oh, I think I'm gonna be okay."
I'm so glad.
I think this cake is just like every day for Shantanos. He's like, nothing special.
Haters gotta hate. Thank you. It's a very good cake.
Oh, well, if you're ready, and I see you've got your juice pouches. Let's your juice pouches. Let's get you rung up, shall we? And she goes over behind the counter. She hobbles behind the counter. Sure, she starts to. Elsie at this point will come out, and she said, "Oh, that's okay, Grandma. I'll take care of it." Oh, thank you, dear. And she goes and she sits back down in her rocking chair. Elsie will sort of pat her on the shoulder. I will say, Mac, now having been hugged by this individual and now looking at the two of them, you do realize that in a way, you just are sitting there after processing that, and plus everything Thomas said to you before. It feels like in a way that Elsie and the grandmother might be the same person.
Huh.
There's something there's something about them that makes them, there's a correlation there. It's very odd. But Elsie will go over, and she will go to this wooden wooden cash register with metal buttons that she presses, and she does. She looks at it. Okay, well that will be that'll be 5 orbs.
Mac is just gonna pay it.
Sure. She takes it. And thanks so much, and let us know how it turns out.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we'll be back.
Thanks so much for stopping by. And the grandmother looks up. Yes, thank you so much. It was a pleasure baking for you.
Okay. Well, I think we're ready for school.
I think so too.
All right. So you head out with your school lunches at the ready. I think that's where we're going to go ahead and bookmark this one. As it's a thing you can you now are prepared for whenever you want to go over and go to the school.
I appreciate that in this entire time, nobody has mentioned to Shaw that the purpose of all of this is to cast a spell that might ruin her home.
Yeah, there is that as well. They seem to have neglected to mention
Well,
that.
we decided we aren't going to cast a spell unless we can determine, like, for certain who we should try and summon. So we might just decide not to do it.
Or we might go into one of the houses that's in the cul-de-sac and do the summoning there.
That's true. Who
That's
cares
fair.
if it's spiders? And then I can tell all of the newly conscious legged items that they can be free. And please
Won't
don't.
the HOA be pleased?
Hey, I don't live in this neighborhood.
Yeah, that's fair.
And here I
HOA
thought
now.
I had nothing for the neighborhood presentation.
Oh,
HOA will have
contraire!
8 lives and run away. Well, that's right. We need to do our a look into the future to see what's supposed to be on this presentation.
Oh, that's right. Well, it won't. So I'm looking at the spell, and we can't declare exactly what it's going to show us.
Yeah.
It just says that I learned the basic details of one event that will occur within the next few days if I and those I know do not intervene in any way. I do not get to determine which event I learn of, but I will know at least one person involved with or affected by it.
Ah, so can't target it then. It could refer to the presentation, but it might refer to something else.
But either way, it involves us, so it's something that
Yes.
we're doing in the
Yeah.
in the future. So possibly the presentation, possibly something worse.
Is that something you want to go ahead and cast, or do we want to hold off on
Yeah.
that?
Can we cast it for like kind of a closing thing, and you can give us a coming soon vision?
Oh yeah, sure. We can give that a shot.
Okay.
Uh,
So I don't actually know how the rolls on spells work, but we basically we can cast a spell. We can cast the spell as long as Shotno and I are in the same place.
so I feel like the target of this is probably just you folks, right?
I guess. It's a level 3 spell.
Right.
See, it's like it's a if you're willing targets, so I don't think you I don't think you have to roll.
For divination, so we just have to
Necessarily.
spend that. We just have to spend the sorcery bene.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like, yeah, I mean, it's the way my understanding, the way that a lot of magic works is if the target is willing,
All right.
it just works.
Okay.
Well, this, I mean, the target of everything. I mean, I guess we could have you roll to see if there's flux, which is always a possibility. But does it say it adds a die?
It does not.
Okay. I think we'll go ahead and then. So, which is what is the name of the spell again? Just so
It
I
is
can-
called Hariolation.
Okay. That sounds delightful.
Page 32, if you need that.
32 of the
The PDF
way.
of the spell deck.
The spell deck. Okay, gotcha. Let me pull that up. Spells. Spell deck. I just want to look at it real quick, just so that I know what's happening. You said it's... Oh, duh. Page 32, Jim. Don't search for the number 32. There we go. Hariolation. There we go. Divinations and gathering magic. Let me actually just double check real quick. One person involved or affected. It's an indigo thing. It's divination. Let me flip to the appropriate page here real quick.
So it
Divination.
looks,
Mhm.
yeah, it
Sorry.
looks like on 17, like the
Yeah.
level of the spell is based on how advanced the information is, but higher elation doesn't let us pick the information.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing.
I also like that on the middle of this page it just says the King of Vultures seeks his blackened carrion crown.
Well, he does. um,
Good to know.
hmm. Just determine a level for the answer in the spell, otherwise effect, or other effect that can't define an answer that is of higher level than the spell. Okay, so you're not actually looking for one event that will occur within the next few days. If I end those, I don't intervene in any way. Gotcha. All right. Well, that being the case, let me, I am going to go ahead and draw a card to see how we flavor this. What does this look like when you're casting the spell?
Well, it's our rival spell, so I think that it's a lot flashier than it would normally be because we learned it together, but we're each going to try and put like a slightly more something spin on it because the strength of it comes from our rivalry. Or no, it's not rivalry. My rivalry is with Mac. It's the it's fellow students.
This is a student's one, yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know.
I have drawn the misunderstood beast.
Oh no.
Okay. Well, no, it's not a bad card.
Misunderstood sounds like a bad thing with divination.
It sounds like Karen, the misunderstood
Sounds like
beast.
Karen.
Yeah.
Poor Karen.
Oh.
Next. So, here is the thing that you see that will happen without your intervention in the next few days. How does the vision get cast, by the way? Do you put it like a pool? Is there a pool that it appears in, or how do you set this up? The trappings of the spell to cast the vision. Do you just hallucinate an answer, or how does this work?
I think since it's like a study thing, it's like we're both take out notepads and our hands end up writing it out.
All right.
Oh yeah.
She who's, you see this written, you see yourselves writing this. Shaw writes the first half. Shantanu writes the second half. She whose mind is a floodgate shall perish at the hand of the loneliest of creatures.
The lowliest or loneliest?
Loneliest. L-O-N-E. And I think then that will be where we close it off.
Oh man, I might kill somebody.
I mean, you don't have to. You could. It's hard to say. It's not necessarily that. We don't know. All right. Well, let's go around and do our outros. any final thoughts you have about this episode and where we can find you. And this time we will be starting with Anino.
Hey, my name's Anino. You can find me on the happiest place on earth, Twitter, at Anino Gaming. I had no idea what was going to happen tonight, and I think it showed when I worked in my dessert from last night, bundt cake, into our impromptu adventure. So, sorry for my Dick Wolf approach to improvisation. But anyway, you can catch me next Tuesday on this channel for the finale of Don't Rush Your Head. That should be a lot of fun. And I am in the final week of my Extra Life fundraising, so you can get in on the giveaways that will be drawn next weekend and around this time. The link is in the chat, and I think that is pretty much it.
Awesome. All right. And Arras.
Hello, I'm Arras or Animus Panthera. On the internet, mostly you're going to find me on the Twitter, where I love to talk about animals, tabletop gaming, and cosplay. And the only place you can watch me play tabletop games right now is right here on Saturdays, playing Invisible Fun. Huzzah! That's it, that's me.
Yay. Did you have any thoughts about the episode? Or
this is a wonderful plan that I'm very excited about, mostly because it involves a snack.
Snacks are good. They're good friends.
I'm sure it can't go wrong in any way.
No, not at all.
Especially not that really ominous prophecy we just got.
It is the best plan. It is the best plan ever. Surely it will deal with everything. Surely. Wilde, hey, how's it going?
Hi, yes, I'm Wilde Engineer. You can find me at Wilde Engineer on Twitter. You can also find me on Twitch on other people's streams. On Tuesdays, I'm on Greyhawk channel for D&D. On Thursdays, on Welcome to the Party for some Powered by the Apocalypse masks, Power Rangers version. And I stream my own game of masks on Fridays, and of course here on Saturdays. Oh, and starting this Monday, I'll be on Welcome to the Party for a game of Nixium, where we'll play some magical little furry creatures. Hey. Today was fun. I was kind of hoping to see Aroshka break someone, but they pulled back at the last second.
So close. So close. And Djinnaya.
Hello, my name is Djinnaya, and I make art and play good games with nice people. And you can find me on Twitter at Djinnaya. Next Saturday, you will be able to find me at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern on Jess's channel, twitch.tv/go_JG, playing Mouse Guard with Jay Dawson and a bunch of other fun people. And then I'll be back here, and yeah, I mean, that's it until you see me next.
Yay. Very cool. All right. Well,
can I just say that I'm very much looking forward to the cookbook that we're all going to have to put together
I
out
know,
of this
right?
campaign, since like almost every episode in some way has to do with snacks.
Somehow I was not expecting this campaign to become a cavalcade of recipes, but yet somehow I'm like, oh, I gotta step up my description of food, apparently. It's interesting what happens with things like this, but very cool. Also, I'm disappointed in myself that I didn't turn the bulk store manager into Frank Nelson sooner. But you know, when opportunities only sometimes arise halfway through a thing. But it was the for reference for those of you who don't watch Agent Television, it says on a number of TV shows. He was he used to work on the Jack Benny Show, actually, originally, I believe it was, where he would be just in any store capacity. This person who he would ask for help, and he would turn around and say, "Yes!" That guy. And he showed up everywhere. But enough of that. Enough of that nostalgic folderol. What about this channel? What's happening? Well, once again, I'm Jim Ryan. You can find me at OtherDoc on both Twitch and Twitter. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I've got links down below to my website, Twitter, and YouTube channel. Tomorrow, we are having a one-shot of Trail of Cthulhu, which I've been desperately trying to slam into my brain for the last couple days. Hopefully that'll go well. And again, as previously mentioned, on Tuesday evening, we will have the finale of our short campaign of Don't Rest Your Head. They're in a car chase. That's where they left off. And who knows what shall happen. It will be very interesting. And then, of course, back around to Saturday when we will have more of this, and we will see what happens, perhaps, with Operation Juicebox. We shall have to find out. Sign-ups right now are open for the moment for next month's short campaign, which will be Alas for the Awful Sea, which again is about being in the 19th century, being out on a ship out amongst the British Isles, and the having the folklore interact with the human heart, basically. And sign-ups are also still technically open because I haven't started casting that one yet. Probably will in a day or two for coming up a week from Sunday, The Extraordinary Adventures of Baron Munchausen. I finally am going to try that game out. That's basically a game where everybody boasts, and your 18th century nobles boasting about impossible adventures. That got a lot of attention real fast. I'm not going to be able to include everyone who signed up for that, but I am delighted. But still, signups are still open. Anyone wants to try diving in, and then I'll figure it out. But as always, beginners are welcome. When we hit the end card, Jim suddenly realizes he didn't figure it out ahead of time, so we are going to send a raid. Let's see. There are a couple of candidates here. I just want to see kind of what they're doing before I do anything. Let's see. Welcome to the Party is up. Plot Hunters is up. Greyhawk is up, doing something. And I cannot fully yet see what they are. Actually, I think I hunted. I might have done Greyhawk last time, so I just rated Welcome to the Party. Why not? They're doing a thing called Adventures in Agony, looks like. So we will go ahead and say hi to them. Again, so you can feel free to hang on and say hi with us if you so desire. That again will be when we hit the end card. In the meantime, folks, thank you so very much for watching. Take care, and I will see you next week. Farewell.